This video contains spoilers for Adolescence and has potentially triggering content related to violence against women. When a young girl's life is tragically cut short, is there any good that can come from such an awful event? I think so, but is it worth the cost? That's not as easy to answer, but I'll do my best. Hey everyone, welcome back to Critic in Motion. For those of you who have returned, and for those of you who are brand new, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be covering another heavy hitter of a TV show, that being Adolescence. I'm going to be taking a more in-depth look at a character you might not be expecting, that being Luke Bascombe and his relationship with his son, Adam, because I think there's enough talk about him. With that being said, let's look at one of the most tragic shows I've ever seen. Detective Inspector Luke Bascombe is one of the lesser spoken about characters of Adolescence, but has an incredibly important job to play in the show. He, among other characters like Eddie and Manda Miller, are parents who are blissfully unaware of the things their children are experiencing. Unfortunately, that doesn't last forever. After the murder of Katie Leonard, it's Luke and Detective Sergeant Misha Frank's job to bring in her murderer and to get enough evidence to secure a conviction. At the start of this episode, we have already seen Jamie being charged, and now we see Luke and Misha trying to find the murder weapon. On top of this, they're also trying to understand the culture that led to Katie's murder, but they don't manage to get very far with any students. It's also worth noting that as the curtain gets drawn further and further back, Luke loses sight of the issues prevalent at the school, but Misha doesn't.
Do you know what I don't like about all this?
Go on.
Right, the perpetrator always gets the front line. A man raped a woman. We followed Jamie's brain around this entire case. Right?
Yeah.
Katie isn't important, Jamie is. Everyone will remember Jamie, no one will remember her. That's what annoys me.
To me, this shows that Luke doesn't truly understand any of the surrounding factors of this tragedy or just how deep the rabbit hole goes, but he's doing his best.
Well, I think we're here for Katie. We're here for her parents. We're here to get answers. It's our job to understand why.
You can't understand why. Do you actually think you can?
To his credit, Luke is open to learning about these issues and actually taking it on board, which isn't something everyone would do in his situation. We also learn that Luke's relationship with his son Adam is incredibly strained. This is a combination of a couple of factors, like his duty as a detective taking up his time and his inability to understand what the boys at this school, or any other for that matter, are being subjected to. This is perfectly shown in a conversation between Luke and Adam, where Adam explains what Katie was posting about. Ashley Walters and Amari Bacchus do a phenomenal job at showing these two different perspectives on the issues and the frustration that comes from both sides. For Adam, it's something as easy as breathing to understand, but for Luke, this is a completely different language.
The Matrix. You've been watching The Matrix?
This shows that from every angle you see this situation from, there are no easy answers. Adam isn't wrong to be frustrated with his dad for not understanding, but Luke also can't be blamed for not getting it straight away, as he's simply from a different time where these things weren't spoken about as much. This shows that the answer realistically lies somewhere between the two generations. They just need to communicate properly to start making progress. Adam, or the younger generation in general, needs to be more understanding of the older one's confusion, whereas Luke, or the older generation, needs to be more willing to listen and talk about it. This is something that starts to happen at the end of their conversation, as Luke starts to take on board more and more of what he's being told.
If this Instagram stuff affect you,
It's not about me.
I know. But does it, son?
Once Luke has got the answers he needs and is able to charge Jamie, he makes one of the best decisions we see him make throughout his two appearances. He decides to walk back to the school to see his son and make time for him. He's making an active decision to put his son ahead of his work, which is the right thing to do. The music suggests this is true, as while he walks, it's incredibly soothing, as if he's awake for the first time in a long while and seeing things clearly. Luke is making a massive step in prioritising his son and their relationship over his work. He's seen firsthand what all of this information can do to a young mind like Jamie's, and he doesn't want to be a part of circulating it around anymore. He's essentially breaking the cycle for both himself and his son by doing something as simple as going for some food at a Chinese restaurant. There's also something beautiful about how he tells Adam he wants to spend time with him.
I know I've got my case. All right, it's nearly done now. I'm about to hand it over. I've got some free time. I want to spend it with you.
This, and him taking an interest in Adam learning French, makes Adam open up, even if it's only a small way. This is the first step to them reconnecting, so the rest of the dominoes are yet to fall, but this is a great way for it to begin. It's communicated to us so well without bashing us over the head with its message, and leaves us on a very positive note for them both. However, as they drive off, we see Katie's best friend Jade walking home by herself. Good has come from this awful thing, but Jade still walks home without her friend as she's simply not there anymore. This visualises that even though Luke has learnt from this experience and is hopefully going to go on to do better for him and others, Katie doesn't get to see any of that. Katie is the important one on this show. The voice that never gets to be heard because it was cut too short. There's no better way to show this than the drone flying over to her memorial. Just as we start to feel good about a father reconnecting with his son, we're hit with the reminder that the only reason it's happening in these circumstances is because she lost her life. The one-take structure of this show perfectly adds to this feeling of despair. There's not one cut in any of the episodes, which is incredibly impressive technically, but from a storytelling perspective, it's a great addition. We're not given the luxury of cutting away to someone else to get a break from what's happened to Katie, reminding us that they are only a small part of a much bigger issue, one that's far from resolved. This brings me to my overall point. Is Katie being murdered worth Luke and Adam reconnecting? The answer to this is obviously no, but the sad fact of the matter is that's precisely what happened. There's no putting the genie back in the lamp, but that's not to diminish the fact that Luke is now more receptive to listening and truly hearing his son, which is also important, just as Katie's life was. The brutality of what happened to Katie means we can't have both in this situation. Whether Katie was bullying Jamie or not isn't important, because she never gets to take it back or grow to be a better person now. Anything that she would have gone on to do, whether it to be good or bad, will never happen now. But what we do know is Luke and Adam now have a chance to be a proper family. This, in my opinion, is the thing worth focusing on. Not why Jamie did what he did, or whether Katie deserved it or not, despite me strong-heartedly feeling that she didn't. But the fact is, she's not here anymore. It's sad and it's unfair, but like anything in this world, there's good with the bad. Luke and Adam show there is hope in this all-too-real situation, but to forget why the hope is even needed is short-sighted and disrespectful to Katie or any real victims of incel culture. Instead of morbidly focusing on incels, we should be asking questions and listening to the answers we all have, in order to avoid real people, not entirely unlike Katie, losing their life. And with all of that said, that wraps up this video. At the risk of sounding preachy, I hope this reaches someone who needs to hear this, and if you take anything from this video, is that there's so much noise out there, so try and cut through all of the crap and focus on what's right in front of you and what you can change. Listen first and speak second. If we all did that, the world would be a much better place. If you need any support regarding any of the things I've brought up in this video, I've attached a link with a list of services depending on where you're based for you to have a look at, and hopefully they'll be of some use for you. My next video will be something more light-hearted than this and my previous one, so keep your eyes peeled for that sometime soon. If you like this video, please like it, and if you really liked it, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified about my next video. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.